Hello! My name is Bubs, I'm an artist, and I like to hear myself talk. And today I'd like to hear myself talk about myself. Or maybe you all want to hear me talk about myself? I asked a while ago if you'd all be interested in me doing Q&A, and you had lots of questions in response. So it's Q&A time. And wow, I guess I'm big enough for a Q&A now? I mean, there's technically no official threshold for what counts as big enough, but I told myself I'd do it if I ever reached 20k. Yeah, about that, this was intended to be a 20k subscriber celebration special thing, but now it's actually a 30k subscriber celebration thing, because I kept putting off recording as a way to give myself a holiday break and make sure as many people got their questions in as possible, and then in the meantime, you guys kept showing up. And now I'm afraid. Grateful, but afraid. Still, this is going to be fun. I got very silly and very nice questions, and I have a list of them in a Google Doc that I'm going to read through and answer unscripted for extra authenticity. I will give a disclaimer that not everyone who asked a question will get an answer in this video. You might have seen that I actually panicked because the original recording, where I did try to answer everything, somehow had me yapping for almost 2 hours, which is ridiculous even by my standards. So basically, I just decided to answer questions that I think would be the best getting to know me types of questions, or questions that I saw crop up frequently as I felt that it was closest to what I wanted this video to be. I also made the decision to not respond to requests for art advice, as I feel I can more properly address those in their own videos, so sorry about that. I will probably end up doing more Q&As in the future if you guys really want me to, though, so you'll most likely get more opportunities to get your burning questions answered. Also, I'm going to try out something new and just have an unrelated speed paint going on in the back for this, because if this works, I might do this more. Futzing with the talk sprites takes the longest for all of my videos, without a doubt, and also happens to be the most tedious part. And while I like the end look and the way it adds a lot more motion to the video, I think that some videos just might not require my talk sprite being there the whole time. I also know that some of you might not care, since I'm your background noise and you're not actually looking at the screen, which doesn't offend me, but still, it is a concern of mine. We'll see how this goes. I'm still learning how to do this YouTube thing, mind you, which is honestly why I'm so scared at all the attention. I'm in my learning phase, and several tens of thousands of people are watching it. But we continue on, because the only thing I truly stand to lose is my dignity, and I don't know that I have much of it left to begin with. Anyways, grab your snacks and your beverage of choice. I recommend some calming tea if you're a tea drinker, and settle in. I am going to try keeping my answers brief, but I think at this point we all know that brevity is not my strong suit. Before I get into the individual questions, though, I have one general response sort of thing to say. This isn't really a Q&A question that I got, but it is a response to a bunch of different types of questions or comments I've seen. This talk sprite right here is not really a character, per se. It's a persona, and it's meant to look like me in real life, loosely. Obviously, I do not have big, swirly eyes, that's a purely aesthetic choice, but the hair, the nose, the freckles, the colors, and yes, even the badoinkers are all more or less how they might appear in real life. My only regret is that I don't have this shirt in real life, but I swear to the J-Man that I will in fact make it a reality if I get big enough to do merch, because I want this shirt in real life. Anyways, my point in saying this is just to clear the air for those that keep asking if Bubs has friends, lore, a backstory, that sort of thing. It's just me, so I guess sort of, but not in the way of it being a character. Her lore is mine. 2 other related caveats. For those that decided to be little sassy smarty pantses and ask me for my lore and backstory, I just want to say that while your jokes are definitely funny, and I am flattered by any genuine interest, I'm kind of a private person when it comes to the internet, in all honesty, so I would need to be sure that this is, in fact, going to be a full-time gig for me. A stable, full-time gig. Trust me, I would love nothing more than for that to be my reality, but at the risk of sounding shallow and ungrateful, I just really am not there yet from a financial standpoint. That doesn't mean I'm planning on giving up or slowing down here. Not at all, but I feel like I need to be honest with myself and y'all. Maybe if I hit like 250k or something crazy like that, I can tell you the dramatic tale of the Midwestern middle child theater kid that I am. The other note is that I am not personally offended by any potentially risque comments that you make about my persona. I saw a few people trying to apologize to me after I made a short about my talk sprite and persona, but there is no need. You can think that Bubs is hot. It is very funny, though I do appreciate that you were concerned about crossing a boundary. It shows that I'm fostering a space of respect, and that's what I want this channel to be. So that's really cool. You just simply weren't, and still aren't, crossing a boundary with me in particular. So you can go on simping for a cartoony version of me if that's what floats your boat. Okay, let's get into the actual questions now. We are gonna go ahead and start with Ryan Blizz, who asks, pronouns and favorite animal. As of right now, I kind of don't care what pronouns you use for me. I'm not exactly sure which umbrella term or microlabel best defines me, despite much research. But I can say with certainty that the label of woman is not something that makes me uncomfortable, but I don't really think that it fully paints the picture of who I am as a person. The best way that I could describe my current approach to gender is just ambivalence. So for you, that means you can just kind of use like whatever you want. I know I like to refer to myself with all manner of gendered and non-gendered language, and you all are free to do so as well. The only exception maybe is probably like it and its types of pronouns. I know that some non-binary folk like them. It's just like not my particular thing. But anything else is really fair game, and you will absolutely not hurt my feelings or make me uncomfortable, and I'm just glad that my audience is one that wants to check, so that's really cool. Favorite animal, I actually have a lot of favorites, and I have a lot of favorites for different reasons, and that might be a running theme. I probably will say that phrase a couple times, but if I were to pick any off the top of my head, just an animal that I really, really like, okapis are really cool. You should read about them. They are really cute. They are very interesting from an evolutionary standpoint, and they're ruminants, and that, as far as I'm concerned, gives them an automatic, like, 100 plus coolness modifier or something. Yeah, okapis. Artling J8Z asks my favorite color, number, and shape. For my favorite color, I really never met a blue that I didn't like, so I just, in general, blue is my favorite color. But I will say my favorite color combo, I really like pink and green together, specifically like a rosy pink and then a minty green. You've probably seen that before in maybe some of my art or my branding, if I can call it branding, so yeah. My favorite number is unironically 69. It started as a joke, but then it became my reality. And then my favorite shape is a hexagon. I just like how it looks, and also geometry and trigonometry were kind of the only math subjects that I liked, and I liked the math with hexagons, so yeah. Your mom asks, what are some of my favorite brushes and how do I typically use them? Well, I use Procreate, obviously, or maybe not obviously. I've had a couple people ask me what program I use, but I use Procreate primarily, and with that, I actually have made myself a lot of custom brushes for, like, coloring and, line art and stuff. Like, for my Talk Sprite, I have custom brushes that I used to make them. Even, like, the little bit of, like, kind of a waffly texture that's over everything is also a custom thing that I made myself. I might release those to the public if I can figure out how to do that, or if there's enough interest for that, but in terms of right now, you will not get the majority of the brushes that I use on a daily basis. But I will say that whenever I'm sketching, I either default to the Derwent pencil brush or the 6B pencil brush. And then I also sometimes use the Mercury brush for a lot of more refined, inky kind of sketching, or even rendering. And then I also really like using the Tinderbox brush for like an inkier looking line art. But I use a lot of different brushes just for funsies, just to try them out and play around and experiment, so yeah. Dingo Dog 54 Alt asks me my favorite Pokemon. Without a doubt, it is Oshawott. He was my first ever Pokemon. My first ever Pokemon game was Pokemon White for the DS, and I picked Oshawott, and I have been a water starter stan ever since. And also, Oshawott's just really cute. What's not to love about him? He's sentimental and he's adorable. Higgle 2000 has asked what inspired me to start creating videos and sharing my art the way that I do. Honestly, I've kind of always wanted to be an artist and share my art with the world ever since I found out that that was a thing that you could do. I have been very inspired by art channels and online artists in my own art journey, and the idea that I could possibly do that for other people is really cool. But for maybe more of a selfish reason, I just thought it'd be fun. And I've been right so far. There's been a couple things that I've been really stressed about, but I stressed myself out. It's genuinely my fault that I got stressed about them, so. Chattering Skulls has asked, if there's one direction I want to go with my art career or YouTube presence, can I describe that, or a goal you wish to eventually accomplish? I'm going to give you a very cheesy answer. I feel like I've already hit all of the goals, and I'm actively continuing to hit all of my goals, because when I started uploading things, there was this part of me that obviously was like, I hope that I get an audience, but I didn't really go in with many expectations. I just wanted to see if I could get a bite for my comics, in all honesty, because I had been uploading Girl and Ghost for maybe a month before I posted my first short, and I thought, hey, YouTube shorts usually have some reach, and this would be kind of fun to, like, you know, see if I could get a new audience. We'll see. And I didn't really expect it to go anywhere, but then it ended up doing it, so I was never really planning on actually doing YouTube, like, consistently, but I kind of feel like I've lucked into it now, so I don't really have any long-term goals other than having fun, and I'm going to continue doing this as long as it's fun, and the second that it's not, and I'm not passionate about it anymore, I'm gonna move on to something else. I don't foresee that happening anytime soon, or maybe ever, so I guess don't worry, but genuinely, I'm pretty content with what I've already been able to accomplish. Obviously, getting a silver play button would be super cool, and I would also love to get to a point where I'm able to engage with, like, bigger projects, like with other people, like collaborations and that sort of thing. Yeah, I've already accomplished more than I ever thought I would, so I'm kind of already here. I'm kind of already going in the direction that I like, and that I'm happy with and content with, even if that's kind of a cheesy, kind of canned sounding answer. Mealipede asks, if your YouTube channel was dedicated to something other than art, what would you dedicate it to? This is kind of an interesting question, because I don't think that I want to be exclusive to, like, illustration, which I think is kind of what you're talking about. Like, I want to talk about stuff like movies and TV shows, I want to talk about music, I want to talk about musical theater, I want to talk about video games. So I'm not necessarily, in my opinion, actually committed and dedicated to just art right now. It's definitely my primary thing, obviously, and it's the only thing I've really given too much lip service to as of right now. But that is subject to change, I think. I want to experiment with different kinds of videos. But to answer the question, if there was something that I would, like, wholly dedicate myself to that has nothing to do with, like, illustration or comics or anything like that, it would definitely be just video games. Video games are a massive part of my life, and I have so much to say about so many wonderful games. You'll probably hear some of my takes on some things in the future, but yeah. Pibmaster has a couple questions for me. They ask me chunky or smooth peanut butter. Smooth. Plain or flavored water. Plain. While I like a lot of water, like flavored waters and more fun drinks, when I am thirsty, water is really the only thing that hits right. And they also ask what my favorite or usual routine for drawing or making art is. Honestly, I'm kind of similar to you, Pibmaster, in the sense of, like, I need to settle down with my beverage of choice. It's usually just a big thing of water, but sometimes it's tea, sometimes it's an energy drink if I'm having kind of an off day. I settle down somewhere where I'm going to be able to adjust frequently if I need to, because I have a tendency to get into, like, really bad postures that I have to kind of adjust my way out of. I try to put on, like, whatever playlist is going to help me get in the headspace that I need for whatever I'm planning on working on. And I also have to make sure that I am in a place where temperature is not going to be a problem for me. I hate being too cold, but I also hate being too hot. I don't know if my body just sucks at thermoregulation or something, but I rapidly move between those two poles. So yeah, I have to, like, plan ahead and be like, here's my blankets, here's my hoodie, can I take them off easily if I need, that sort of thing. And yeah, then I just kind of draw until everything starts to look bad or my eyes start to hurt, and then I will put my stuff down. Because those are both indicators to me that I've been doing it for too long. I'm Clown Fox asks how I discovered my art style, and also asks how old I am, which is an interesting combo of questions, but I will answer them nonetheless. I technically have two main art styles. One of them's kind of more semi-realistic, and then the other one is my super cartoony one that's kind of become the face of this channel, because it's been something that I've been having a lot of fun with, and so I've just been utilizing it a lot. I also have been doing kind of a hybrid of both of them recently, but to answer the question, I actually specifically set out to make a super cartoony style specifically for Mina's story, and it was, so I went out with the intention of it being like this nice perfect storm of cutesy and gritty and kind of horror inspired and just very multifunctional, so that I could really hit that creepy cute aesthetic. If I could pinpoint some of my major inspirations, there's a lot of like different things that I know for a fact probably contributed, so I'll just rattle off a couple. Art YouTuber Lavender Town, major inspiration there. A lot of inspiration from Friday Night Funkin' visuals. Invader Zim is probably in there somewhere. ZEZ and just Ramshackle in general is another one. Palo definitely contributed. I love Spooky Month. A lot of my monster designs kind of take me to a Salad Fingers headspace, actually. There's also definitely a bit of Hilda influence too, the Netflix show specifically, and rather than the original comic. But Luke Pearson is just very, very inspiring to me in general, so yeah. Oh yeah, also I'm currently 22, though that is subject to change within the next few months. TR2603 has asked me what my favorite and least favorite parts of the creative process happen to be. My favorite part is without a doubt character design. I don't know if you've noticed, but that's kind of all I've been yapping about on my channel as of right now. So it's definitely something that makes me very, very happy and that I'm very, very passionate about. My least favorite part of art in general is just line art. There is so little about line art that I enjoy and so much about it that I loathe. I find that I'm still not very good at actually making myself feel like I've taken every bit of life and natural, organic movements and flow from my sketch and then make it look neater but not lose all of the natural organic flavor and movement and feeling and everything. And it's also just so tedious. I suck at it. I suck at doing it in one go. It takes me forever to do line art. Sugar Dust has asked if I ever plan on making an animated pilot with my OCs. And I actually answered this question to them already, but I decided I'd put it in this video just in case other people were wondering, because I have seen a lot of comments about people being like, oh, you need to make this a show. I am flattered that you would watch a show that I made. And frankly, there are a lot of ideas that I've had where I feel like in my brain I would love for them to be shows, or even I've come up with a lot of video game concepts. But in terms of whether or not those are ever going to be reality, I'm not planning on that happening. The fact of the matter is I have absolutely no animation or show running, or for that matter, since I brought it up, coding experience. And yeah, it's just a little silly for me to actually plan on any of that happening. But I am gonna say this right now, if the opportunity presented itself for me to be able to do that, I would 1000% do that, and you guys would be the first people to know about it, so stay tuned, maybe. I don't know. Pink Ink, New Zealand, has asked me quite a few questions. They asked me how many stories I have. Too many. I'm gonna try to actually count them and put up a rough estimate on the screen. Here's the rough number. My first OC was actually a Warrior Cats fan OC named Stream Rift. I think I made up my own set of clans for some reason for it, and hers was Water Clan, very, very unique and very creative. And she was like the best warrior, but she never got to be the deputy or the leader specifically because I just didn't like the sound of the name Streamstar. And she was blue. What do I want to do with my stories? Well, right now, I kind of just want to keep making comics. I love making comics. It's very fun for me. I would love to make some more formal, like, visual novel things that are a little bit more self-contained. In terms of random things that I say, I don't really know. I don't pay that much attention to the things that come out of my mouth, because the things that come out of my mouth are very strange, and I just as soon forget about what I'm saying. I do know that with my siblings, I have a couple of inside jokes because I kept saying them and repeating them over and over. So with my older sibling, we both say back and forth, like, all my homies hate something. Like, I think it kind of started, because I was playing Elden Ring while they were hanging out with me and watching, and anytime I would encounter a minor inconvenience, I would just say that all my homies hate whatever that inconvenience happened to be, oftentimes being a boss or a specific boss move, and then they've kind of just picked up on saying it too, so now we say it back and forth a lot. I also, with my younger sibling, we say, like, I'm so fucking scared of skeletons, or occasionally I'm so fucking scared of, like, insert other random thing. And it is a reference, and if you know what the reference is, I'm so fucking scared of skeletons. If you know what the reference is, you have good taste, and I like you. Angel Natasha I7Z has asked me if I were to pick a favorite character of the Idiot Squad, who would it be based off of how fun it was to draw and their character traits? See, I like all of them, so you're asking me to pick a favorite child. That's kind of fucked up. I'm joking. But, Charlie, I want to say Charlie's my favorite, but he's my favorite specifically because I like to bully him the most, and I don't know that that counts for what you're actually asking me, so in terms of characters that I actually genuinely like, Victor and Eric are probably my favorites, like they're tied for first, but Tabby is definitely a contender for, like, second place. It'd be easier to tell you who my least favorite baby is, and that title probably still goes to Julius. It's really funny, but I dislike him for different reasons than when he was Dawnfire, so that's character growth, I think. August 64380, I had to say all of those numbers, first asks me how I decided on the name Bubs. It is actually a nickname that I gave myself, and it comes from when I used to have, like, a DeviantArt and all kinds of stuff like that, where the persona that I chose to represent me was a Mary Sue My Little Pony Alicorn OC named Ocean Mist, whose nickname was Misty, but it was also Bubbles for some reason. I will say, she's in the rotation for a potential reimagining my Ancient OCs video, so you may hear more about her, just as a warning. But yeah, it started with that, and then whenever I would go to sign things, I just kept shortening my name more and more, like, just to the Bubbles part, and then after a while I was like, I don't like having to write all of Bubbles, and so I think it was an accident the first time I did it, but I just wrote Bubs, and I was like, actually I like how that looks, and it's also kind of fun to say. And so then I kept doing it, and then now it's my whole online identity, so yeah, My Little Pony. I can't escape it with my art career. I can't get away from My Little Pony. It will be a part of me forever. August has also asked me about my pets, and, like, what kind they are, and how many are there, and what are their types and names, and also if that you can see them. I will preface this by reminding you that I am a private person, and my pets are kind of distinctive in appearance, and I do not want people to... the more identifying information I give out, the more people are going to be able to trace back to me. I don't want to be found. I don't want to be looked at. Jokes aside, though, I am happy to tell you about them. It's just going to be kind of a names and faces omitted thing, but I can show you lovely drawing interpretations of my little critters. So my family, we have a rabbit who is spoiled to high heaven, and she is also a sass master, and she also hates me. She's very chunky, and I love her, even if she doesn't love me back. And then we have two dogs. They're both seniors. We have a big boy dog and a teeny tiny girl dog. The girl dog is especially my problem because for some reason she is very attached to me, and she has to be on me at pretty much every waking moment of every waking day, and also every sleeping moment of every sleeping night. She was the dog that you heard yawning in my latest video. Yeah, and then they're my own two critters that are just mine. I have two rats, They are both girls, and they are both fancies. Only one of them is albino, and she cannot see. She can probably, I think she can see a little bit, but she definitely has way worse vision than her sister, which is already saying something, because rad vision sucks, if you didn't know. The albino one is very shy, but is still very sweet and affectionate, and her sister likes to be in sleeves. Very much Cam has asked hot chocolate, tea, or coffee, as well as books or movies. For the first question, I think if I have to pick, like, my favorite of that, while there is nothing that can replace a nice hot chocolate on a cold, shitty weather day, tea is the one that I would pick, just because tea encompasses so many more things than the other guys. Like, you can have hot tea, cold tea, bitter tea, sweet tea, milk tea, just standard water tea. You can have it calming or energizing. Like, tea is great. And also, just to indicate a little bit about my background, from a origins of my family standpoint, one's, like, the paternal side of my family is incredibly Irish. Like, my grandmother literally immigrated from Ireland. And then on my maternal side, it's all the South. So I literally have tea coursing through my veins. Tea. And then books or movies. I would have to say movies, and it's for two main reasons. The first of which is that I feel like the risk-reward of watching a movie versus reading a book, if the movie turns out to be really bad, it is a lot less wasted time than a bad book. And then also, I think that I just have a hard time reading. I have this kind of thing where I feel like whenever I'm reading something, like especially like if it's a paragraph, if the lines are close together, they feel like they're kind of jitter around and bounce off of each other, and so I have a really hard time moving from one line to the next when I'm reading a book, especially if the text is really small. So reading has historically been a very frustrating experience for me. So movies, but you know, there are still books that I really like. Speaking of, Chestnut Dude asked me what my favorite book was. So I don't know that I have a strict favorite. Here comes I have favorites, but not necessarily like a definitive favorite. But Six of Crows is such a good book. It was it was probably the only book, actually, that I picked up during high school unprompted. Like, it was strictly for fun. And also, I was very proud of myself once I finished reading it, because it was like 600 pages, and I hadn't read a book that chunky in a really long time, so I was like, not only did I have a great time, but I also conquered a crazy feat. Look at me go. The books that I think have been the most influential to me would probably be Brandon Mull's Fablehaven and Beyonders series. That brand of fantasy has been very informative to me as I grew up. So yeah. The Devious Person has asked me both my favorite pie flavor and my favorite artist. Favorite pie flavor is easy. Apple pie, without a doubt. Even, like, not the best apple pie still makes me happy. I love apple pie. When it comes to pie, I think sometimes the decadence of it can be a little bit overwhelming for me. So I like a nice apple pie because it's like a perfect balance of being sweet and just a little bit tart and more fresh because of those just nice apples. I don't know. I also like how gooey it is. That makes me happy. As far as a favorite artist, I have lots of favorites, but I don't know that I have a definitive favorite. But I would say I probably have a favorite art channel on YouTube. And that would be, hands down, without a doubt, Drawfee. They have not only been such a major inspiration for me and a motivator for me to continue doing things, and even an inspiration now of, like, what I want to do with my channel and why I'm willing to post in the first place, but also, they're just so freaking funny. Like, they've consistently made me laugh, and they've gotten me through a lot of really hard times, so Drawfee. Random Person K123 asks, who's your favorite music artist / band, and what music genre do you listen to? Once again, I have lots of favorites, not really a definitive favorite. I can just rattle off a bunch that I listen to the most frequently. I listen to a lot of Mother. I listen to a lot of Will Wood. I listen to a lot of Tom Cardy. He does like musical comedy. If you've not, you've definitely heard him at this point on the internet. You just might not know that it was Tom Cardy. I listen to a lot of Tally Hall and Fall Out Boy. I listen to a lot of Chappell Roan. I listen to a lot of Stromae. I listen to a lot of K-pop. I especially like Blackpink. I listen to a lot of like more classic stuff, I guess, as well. Like I really like Elton John. I like Queen. I like Pink. I don't know, I listen to just kind of a lot of stuff. I also listen to a lot of show tunes. That's the same thing with like the music genre. I listen to all kinds of music. I just listen to what makes me happy and what sounds good to me. And a lot of different things sound good to me and make me happy. So speaking of, if you have any song recommendations that you think I'd like, and I'm always down to listen to new like indie artists and stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot. Rare Americans is another big one. Oh, and oh my god, what is his name? Handsome Devil. Love those guys. Yeah. Disreliable has asked me, why are you cool? I don't know. I don't really do anything to try to be cool, so I don't know. Thank you, though. They also ask me how often I draw, including doodles, and how much do I actually post. I draw a lot. I used to be a kind of person that was like, you need to draw every day, but I've kind of transitioned into the idea of doing something creative every day, and that takes a lot of different forms. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's drawing, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's just doing storyboards or thumbnails or concept things, and sometimes it's literally building in a video game. That counts for me. Regardless, I still do draw a lot. I usually get like really, really inspired to draw in fits and bursts where sometimes I'll want to draw like all day long, and then sometimes I just only want to draw like maybe 10 minutes once a week. I do try to publish my comic that I'm working on right now, Girl and Ghost. I try to put up a page every single week, and I have consistently since I started putting it up, so yay me. But as such, I do draw at least once a week. But a lot of the things that I draw are concept stuff for things that I haven't gotten to with certain stories, or even just like vent art. I do vent art a lot. There's also, admittedly, some very scandalous drawings that I just don't want to show. They're too scandalous. So I think that like I probably only post or show to people maybe like 10%, maybe more realistically 10 to 20% of what I draw actually makes it to the public in some fashion. So yeah. Nova Shenron has asked me what some of my favorite art and OCs are that I haven't shown you yet. I don't know that I have really favorite art. I mean, I guess there's this picture. I have it in my head. I'm gonna put it on the screen. And it's like, it's just a little picture of Mina and another character that I actually haven't really talked about from that same story. I just really like it. I like the colors, I like the poses, I like the vibes. It's just a nice piece. I have it as my phone, and I think also, yeah, it's laptop. I just had to check. I have it for my phone and laptop, like, background, so I like it. As far as OCs that I haven't shown you, I have a lot of OCs that I've never seen the light of day yet, but one that I'll just talk about because I think it's kind of funny, is this lady right here. Her name is Maribwin. She is a half-elf that I made for a D&D campaign that never really went anywhere. I felt bad that she got orphaned though, and so I made up a new story just for her to house her, so she is no longer orphaned or homeless. And she's pretty cute, and I like her a lot, and she's funny and horny and kind of evil, and I like characters like that, so. She's also really gay, which is also important for me. The authorist has asked me quite a few questions, great questions. However, I specifically wanted to address the last one that they asked me here, specifically because I absolutely love the invitation to be a little self-critical here. I think that being self-critical and recognizing your weaknesses are really important to being an artist and getting better and not letting your art get stale. I am really bad at drawing feet. in any of my art styles very consistently. I just can't draw feet. And because I can't draw feet, I often hide the feet, which doesn't get you to be better at drawing feet. So that's definitely something that I need to improve on. I'm also not the best at keeping my characters very consistent and looking on model. I have a tendency to just like kind of warp them around a lot from one drawing to the next, which is bad when I make a comic, by the way. I'm getting better all the time. I think part of it is because I'm doing more comic stuff, so I am consistently practicing those skills, but I still have a lot of room for improvement. I have been kind of thinking of doing videos where it's like showcasing progress, which it would give me a real motivation and excuse to just focus on those sorts of things and improving those sorts of things. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. But yeah. Feet are the devil. I hate feet. And that's all the questions that I grabbed, I think. I hope these answers were good, and I hope I answered these questions correctly. There were a couple of things I don't know that I was exactly on the money with what you were trying to ask, so I just hope that, you know, you feel more bonded to me, but like not too bonded, because I am an internet stranger, and that is a good thing. Let's not, no unhealthy parasocial bonds here. Still, really, I will never be done saying stuff like this. I am just so incredibly grateful for all of your support, and I am going to do my best to make our time together fun for you. My comment fishing question of the day is, what are you guys most interested in seeing from me going forward? As I said, I want to do a lot of stuff on this channel, so if there's any specific topic you want me to yap about, or just an opinion of mine that you'd like to hear, please let me know. Also, if there's any types of videos you'd be interested in regarding my personal projects for OCs, aside from my Reimagining My OC series, which is definitely going to be a series, please let me know about that. I have been mulling over the idea of a Mina and Hamish lore video, because a lot of you people seemed to want to know more about them, so, you know, maybe that's an idea that you like. Regardless, my next video is definitely going to be the art tropes that I love. That won the poll. I have a sketch for a thumbnail going, and the vast majority of the script for it is done, so that should be up soon-ish. Especially if I can do a speed paint in the background, like this time, though I might do some relevant fan art for that one, since it would make more sense. Let me know what you think on that, too. After that, I would like to get part 2 of the Idiot Squad up, but I'll be honest, I haven't really had the energy to start thumbnailing yet, but I do plan to do at least 16 pages of a comic for it, because I thought that that would be a good proof of concept, and yeah. Anyways, I'll let you go. I've yapped enough. Thank you for making it this far, and thank you again for all of your support. Thank you for 30K. Make sure you drink some water, and remember that you matter. Bye. Do not tell Scott Bakula to put on pants. I need to see that juicy rumpus.